You know, getting older is supposed to come with peace. That's what they tell you when you're younger. That once you retire, once the kids are grown, once the busy part of life winds down, you can finally relax and enjoy the years you worked so hard for. And while there's some truth to that, there's also a side of aging that no one talks about. A side that can catch you off guard if you're not prepared. This video isn't here to sugarcoat things. It's not going to tell you what you want to hear. It's going to tell you what you need to hear. They might sting a little. They might hit you where it hurts. But they can also save your happiness if you hear them now. And if you're wondering whether it's too late, I promise you it's not. Before we dive in, let me share something that shocked me recently. Harvard researchers conducted a long-term study on aging and found that seniors who suffer from loneliness are 26% more likely to die early compared to those who stay socially connected. 26%. That's not a small number. It's proof that ignoring the tough parts of aging can literally cost you your life. And that's why these truths matter, not to scare you, but to help you fight for the life and peace you deserve. Let's get into the first one. You might not like hearing this, but it's true. Not everyone will respect you just because you're older. When we were young, we were taught to respect our elders automatically. It was built into our homes, our communities, our traditions. You stood when an older person entered the room. You listened when they spoke. You valued their experience. But something has shifted over the past few decades. Society has started to idolize youth, their energy, their innovation, their beauty. And in the process, they've started to quietly push older people to the sidelines. Today, you can walk into a room full of younger people and be treated like you're invisible. Your years, your sacrifices, your wisdom. Sometimes they're not even acknowledged, let alone honored. I remember talking to Mr. Harold, a 72-year-old former lawyer, over coffee one afternoon. He leaned in close, looked me dead in the eye, and said, "You know what shocked me after I retired? How fast the world forgot me." He wasn't bitter, just honest. He told me that when he was working, his phone never stopped ringing. Everyone needed his advice, his connections. But once he stepped down, it was like he had disappeared. At first, he stayed home, feeling sorry for himself. He wondered if his worth was tied only to his career. But then something inside him snapped, in a good way. He decided he would no longer wait for people's respect. He started volunteering at a local school library 3 days a week. Not because he needed a job, but because he needed a place to share his experience. He taught kids how to debate, how to think critically, how to argue respectfully. And you know what happened? Those children began to love him. The teachers respected him. The parents appreciated him. Not because of who he used to be, but because of what he gave them today. That's the thing about respect after 65. You can't sit back and demand it like it's owed to you. You have to keep living, keep giving, keep showing up. Respect in old age doesn't come automatically anymore. It's built, one kind act, one shared story, one fresh contribution at a time. There's a beautiful old saying by Confucius that sums it up perfectly. Respect yourself and others will respect you. Notice he didn't say, be old and others will respect you. He said respect yourself first. Carry yourself with dignity. Walk into the room like you still have something valuable to offer, because you do. And when you believe that, others can't help but feel it too. I know it's painful when you feel dismissed, when a younger cashier rolls her eyes at you, when your own children seem too busy to listen, when society treats you like a burden instead of a blessing. But here's the truth. The moment you internalize their disrespect, you lose a piece of yourself. And you, my friend, are far too valuable to lose even 1 ounce of who you are. If no one claps for you, clap for yourself. If no one listens to your story, tell it anyway. Carry yourself not with bitterness, but with a quiet, unshakable pride. Because respect may not be handed to you anymore, but it can still be earned. Every single day, you keep living with purpose. Now let's move to the second truth, and believe me, this one hits almost every senior I've ever met. Financial struggles won't magically disappear just because you're retired. When you're young, you think that once you retire, your financial problems will somehow shrink. Maybe you imagine that with no more commuting costs, no more work lunches, no more busy schedules, you'll spend less. Maybe you believe that with a pension or some savings, you'll have more than enough to live peacefully. But the truth is, financial struggles don't just evaporate after 65. In fact, for many seniors, new and unexpected money worries pop up, and sometimes they're even bigger than before. Life, unfortunately, doesn't send you a bill that says, "Congratulations on your retirement. From now on, everything is free." No, the costs keep coming. They change, they shift, but they never truly disappear. I'll never forget my neighbor Gloria. She retired at 66 with a modest pension and a little bit of savings. She wasn't rich, but she had budgeted carefully. She planned out little trips she would take, hobbies she wanted to pick up, and even had enough tucked away for a few luxuries here and there. Everything looked good on paper. But one summer, a terrible thunderstorm hit our area. It ripped the shingles off Gloria's roof, and when insurance company lowballed her, she had to come up with nearly $7,000 out of pocket to fix it properly. $7,000. That wasn't part of her plan. And just like that, all the little dreams she had, the cruise she wanted to take with her sister, the painting classes she wanted to join, disappeared. She told me, with a sad little laugh, "I thought I had planned for everything. Turns out, I only planned for the good stuff." This is what so many of us do without realizing it. We save for vacations, for hobbies, for fun things. But we don't save for the roof collapse, for the surprise dental surgery, for the son who loses his job and moves back in. Life keeps throwing curveballs, even when you think you're done playing the game. That's why I always say, retirement planning isn't about dreaming, it's about defending. Defending your future peace of mind against the unpleasant surprises that will almost certainly come. Even if you think you have enough, think again. Create a second, hidden emergency fund just for bad news. Even if you never need it, the peace you'll feel knowing it's there will be worth every penny. Benjamin Franklin said it better than I ever could. Beware of little expenses. A small leak will sink a great ship. It's not usually one massive disaster that ruins us. It's the little things piling up. A prescription that costs a bit more. A heating bill that's higher this winter. A grandchild's birthday that you don't want to miss. A leak here, a crack there. And before you know it, your ship is sinking under your feet. I'm not telling you this to make you afraid. I'm telling you this because the earlier you accept it, the stronger you'll be. Financial peace doesn't come from luck. It comes from hard, sometimes boring, preparation. It's not glamorous. It's not Instagram-worthy, but it's what will let you sleep at night without that heavy knot of worry sitting on your chest. And that brings us to a third truth. This one is perhaps the most shocking of all, because it's something you can't see coming. Your health can decline overnight and change everything. One of the cruelest tricks of aging is how fast things can go from fine to frightening. You can feel perfectly healthy, strong even one day, and the next you're in a hospital bed, wondering how you got there. I saw it happen to my dear friend David. He was 70 years old and in incredible shape for his age. He jogged every morning, kept up with his grandchildren, and even climbed ladders when helping me fix the gutters. He was the guy we all looked at and said, if I can be half as healthy as David at that age, I'll be lucky. But one rainy afternoon, David slipped on his front steps while carrying a bag of groceries. He broke his hip so badly that he needed surgery and months of physical therapy. Just like that, his independence was gone. He went from a man who ran 5 miles a day to a man who needed help getting out of bed. And let me tell you, it wasn't just his body that hurt. It was his spirit. He struggled with depression. He lost confidence. He became afraid to go outside, afraid of falling again, afraid of living. It took a long, painful year for David to recover some of his strength. And even now, he's not the same. But do you know what he says when we sit out on the porch, talking about those dark days? He says, I should have respected my body more. I should have prepared for weakness when I still felt strong. That's the heartbreaking part about health in our later years. By the time you realize you need to build your strength, it might already be too late. That's why I urge you, even if you feel good right now, don't take it for granted. Stay active. Eat real food, not processed junk. Stretch, walk, swim, lift light weights. Get your blood pressure checked. Take your vitamins. Don't wait until you're broken to start taking care of yourself. Prevention is 1,000 times easier than recovery. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention (CDC) reported that over 3 million older adults are treated for fall injuries in emergency rooms in the United States every year. 3 million. That's not bad luck, that's bad preparation. You can't bubble wrap yourself, no. But you can build balance, build muscle, build resilience. Every walk you take today is an investment in your freedom tomorrow. Jim Rohn once said something I think about often. Take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live. He's right. You can change homes, you can change cities, you can even change families, but your body is your one and only permanent home. And trust me, when you're in your 70s, 80s, 90s, you'll either be grateful for the care you gave it, or you'll be haunted by the neglect you allowed. Please don't wait. Respect your body now, because when that health scare comes, and for most of us, it will, you'll wish you had started building your defenses long before the storm arrived. Now let's move to the fourth harsh truth, and I have to tell you, this one is personal for me. Loneliness is a silent killer, and it creeps up faster than you think. When you're working, when you're raising a family, when you have places to be and people depending on you, you rarely feel lonely. There's always something pulling you forward. But after retirement, after the kids move away, after the busy noise of life settles down into a heavy silence, that's when loneliness tiptoes in. It doesn't burst through the door, it slips through the cracks, so quietly that you don't even notice it at first. One day you realize it's been a week since anyone called. You realize you've eaten 3 meals alone at the kitchen table, staring at the same 4 walls. You realize you're craving conversation, like a man craves water in a desert. And here's the terrifying thing. Loneliness isn't just a sad feeling, it's a health hazard. Studies have shown that chronic loneliness increases the risk of dementia, heart disease, stroke, and early death. It's as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Imagine that, not being touched, not being heard, not being needed. It eats away at your mind and your body until you are just a shell of who you once were. I saw this happen with my old neighbor Marie. She was 74, a sweet woman with a sharp mind and a gentle laugh. After her husband passed away, her world shrank almost overnight. Her children lived out of state, and although they called once in a while, it wasn't the same as someone sitting across from you, sharing a cup of coffee, laughing about the weather, arguing over the best pie recipe. Marie spent 2 years drifting in that fog of loneliness. One morning, by sheer accident, she wandered into a community gardening club meeting at the library. At first, she told me, she stood at the back of the room, shy and unsure. But then a woman named Carol pulled her into a conversation about tomatoes. And just like that, a tiny door opened. Week by week, Marie found herself laughing again. She started waking up with plans, with purpose. And one day, she told me something that has stuck with me ever since. She said, "We think we're watering plants, but really, we're watering each other's hearts." That's the secret to surviving loneliness. You must build connections on purpose. You can't sit by the window, hoping someone will knock. You have to walk out that door and find your people. Even if it's awkward at first, even if you feel like you don't belong yet. Join a book club, a singing group, a walking group, a church. Take a class at the senior center. Volunteer at the library. Visit the same coffee shop every Wednesday until the barista knows your name. Start small, but start. Mother Teresa once said, "The most terrible poverty is loneliness and the feeling of being unloved." She wasn't exaggerating. We human beings are built for connection. Our hearts, our health, even our immune systems depend on it. If you do nothing else after hearing this today, please reach out to someone. Find a community. Find a purpose. Because loneliness, if left unattended, will steal your years and your spirit before you even realize it's happening. And now, the fifth and final harsh truth, the one that still catches so many people by surprise, no matter how prepared they think they are. The world moves on, with or without you. This might be the hardest pill to swallow, because deep down, we all want to believe that we are irreplaceable. that our families, our communities, even the younger generation will always hold space for us, will always make room at the table for us. But life doesn't work that way. People get busy, children grow up, grandchildren grow into teenagers who have their own lives to live. Friends pass away, communities evolve, and slowly, painfully, you realize that the world you helped build is now being run by people who barely know your name. At first, it feels like a betrayal, like you're being pushed aside, forgotten. But it's not cruelty, it's simply the rhythm of life. Just like we once rushed forward, full of energy and dreams, leaving our elders behind without meaning to, now the cycle has turned. It's our turn to watch the parade go by. I remember Tom, a lively 67-year-old man from my church group. After he retired, he would sit by the phone every weekend, waiting for his grown children to call or visit. At first, they did, but over time, the calls became less frequent. The visits are shorter, and Tom grew bitter. He would mutter, "After all I've done for them, this is what I get." One Sunday, after another lonely Saturday, Tom had an epiphany. He said, "I realized it's not their job to fill my days with joy. It's my job to build a life worth waking up to." So he stopped waiting. He took a painting class at the community center. He started walking in the mornings and chatting with the other regulars at the park. He hosted poker nights for other retirees who also needed a reason to laugh. And guess what? When his children saw him thriving, they started visiting more, not out of guilt, but out of genuine joy at seeing their father alive and vibrant again. That's the lesson. You must become the source of your own joy. Don't tie your happiness to how often your kids call. Don't tie your self-worth to how many invitations you get. Build a life so full of beauty, passion, and connection that if someone steps into it, it's a bonus, not a necessity. Dr. Seuss said it best. Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. Cherish the memories. Treasure the love you gave and received. But don't live in the rearview mirror. Plant new seeds. Build new traditions. Create new reasons to smile, even if the world seems to have moved on without you. Because here's the truth, you're still here. You're still breathing. You're still capable of building beautiful days, one choice at a time. The world may not slow down to make space for you, but you can carve out your own space. And sometimes, the joy you create for yourself shines so brightly that the world can't help but stop and notice. Now that we've reached the end of our conversation, I know some of these truths might feel heavy. I understand. They aren't easy to face. But the hardest lessons are often the ones that set us free. Because once you see aging for what it truly is, not a fairy tale, not a horror story, but real life, you stop feeling betrayed by it. You stop waiting for others to make it easier. You start living with your eyes open, with your spirit grounded. If someone had sat us down 20 years ago and told us these 5 truths, maybe we could have prepared a little differently. But wisdom doesn't expire. It's never too late to live smarter, to live stronger, to live lighter. Whether you're 65 or 85, you still have mornings to wake up to. You still have chances to laugh, to love, to create meaning. There is so much still waiting for you, if you're willing to reach for it. Respect, financial security, health, connection, a meaningful place in the world. They don't fall into your lap after a certain age. They must be claimed, built, protected. And now you know how. You know that respect today comes from carrying yourself with dignity, from giving instead of waiting to be recognized. You know that financial peace doesn't just come from dreaming about retirement, but preparing for the hard days too. You know your health is fragile, and every walk, every healthy choice is an investment in freedom. You know that loneliness is a warning sign, and connection must be pursued deliberately. And you know that the world moves forward whether you're ready or not. But your happiness doesn't have to depend on it. This season of life requires a new mindset. One that says, even if the world forgets me, I will not forget myself. You are not powerless. You are not invisible. You are not finished. The world may not slow down, but you can walk forward with your own light still burning bright. Maybe today you take one small step. Call an old friend. Join a local group. Walk around the block. Save a little extra. Write your story down. Every small step is a victory. Every small choice says, I'm still here. I still matter. There's something a wise 79-year-old man once told me. He said, I used to think life got smaller as you got older, but now I know it only shrinks if you stop opening the door. He was right. Every day is a door. Every smile, every conversation, every quiet moment of gratitude, they are doors. And you, my dear friend, still have the power to walk through them. If this message touched you, I'd love to hear from you. In the comments below, share with me. Which of these 5 truths spoke to you the loudest? Was it about respect, finances, health, loneliness, or the world moving on? I promise you, your story matters here. Thank you for being here with me. If this conversation gave you strength today, I hope you'll subscribe for more. Until next time, take care of yourself, cherish your days, and remember, keep opening the door.